Fuck you think this is? What's good? What's good? Hold on. Let me get. The fuck is good? Baddest bitch in the motherfucking game. Who the fuck you? Hold on. Hold on. Let me get him. Hold on. Let me hit him with the. Tay, hold the phone. Hold it. Just bring it back a little bit. Hold on. Move back a little bit. Let's see. Ooh.
Yeah. Kick them feet up. Let them know.
Kick my feet up.
Let them know.
Oh, okay.
Let them know. Yeah. Queen shit.
Fuck you thought this was, bitch?
Yeah.
Who the fuck you thought you was playing with, nigga?
Oh,
you see how I just...
Oh,
wait, hold on. Y'all need to, boo, play some Beanie Man or something. Bomba clap, let's get it.
come on, Booth, pop it off. You taking too long.
We need some dance hall to start it.
Okay.
Before I become you motherfuckers' worst nightmare. Nick!
Instead of focusing on truly pressing issues like the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza or the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, our attention is being diverted to petty celebrity feuds. We're witnessing two public figures dragging their personal conflicts into the public sphere, even involving their children, while the world's attention could be on far more significant matters. These celebrities don't care about anything beyond creating chaos, fueling gossip, and maintaining their own relevance. Their record labels actively encourage this behavior because controversy drives clicks, streams, and views. The more chaos they create, the more attention and revenue they generate. Meanwhile, the public is kept distracted with meaningless drama, while critical global issues go largely ignored. I strongly recommend watching Kareen's videos on this. She has a 2-part series and another one titled Nothing But Lies in BBL. Her channel is one of the few online spaces that actually prioritizes substance over sensationalism.
Because beef pays. It keeps the people drained of their energy. Focus on what doesn't matter. And these companies, these labels, they're getting money for it. They're monetizing beef and toxicity and demonic energy. And you're putting it in a pocket because why is Nicki going #1 everywhere? It's hard to avoid this. You're seeing the stats everywhere. So she's telling them, oh yeah, better make me #1. The more toxic she is, the more she's being rewarded for it and going #1. She's being rewarded for her toxicity because being asleep, you get rewarded. Talk to me. You talking about, guys, I want y'all to know because a lot of people is arguing with me now.
Kareen herself has stated that the topics she covers don't bring her much money. She knows exactly how to profit on YouTube by covering celebrity gossip and other toxic, low-value topics. But she chooses instead to speak on matters that truly affect our lives and our souls. That's rare integrity in this space. What she highlights is exactly what's going on. Many celebrities today exist not to inform or inspire, but to distract. They're part of a larger system that thrives on degeneracy and the erosion of values, especially among younger audiences. While the public argues over celebrity spats, governments and corporations quietly advance agendas that deeply affect our freedom and future. For instance, did you know that in England you can no longer buy, sell, or get a job without a digital ID? This should sound eerily familiar to anyone paying attention to global trends. Yet, why aren't these celebrities speaking about it? Because they don't care. They're complicit. In fact, I believe, and this is my opinion, alleged for legal reasons, that nearly all high-profile celebrities are pushing a satanic or anti-human agenda. For someone to reach the level of influence these artists have, it's not enough to be talented. They must belong to certain groups, engage in certain rituals, and essentially pledge loyalty to the system. These rituals are often recorded, so that if a celebrity ever decides to rebel or expose the truth, they can be blackmailed and silenced. That's why you rarely see any of them truly going off script. They're too big a liability for the machine that props them up. So when you look at the Cardi B and Nicki situation on a macro level, it's clear. This isn't just petty drama, it's a manufactured distraction designed to keep the public occupied with nonsense, while far more consequential issues play out in the background. These public spats reinforce toxic behavior, normalize chaos, and continue to erode values in the culture. It's a cycle of distraction and moral decay that benefits everyone but the public. And on the micro level, it's even more insidious. Let's dissect it. Many Black American women tend to over-identify with Nicki Minaj, when in reality, Nicki herself has always made it clear that she doesn't identify with them in the same way. She consistently distinguishes herself as other, often emphasizing her Trini, Indian, and even Japanese heritage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from the very beginning of her career, I noticed that she went out of her way to highlight her mixed background.
Looking Trinidadian, Japanese and Indian, got Malaysian, got that yaki, that wavy Brazilian.
I was never a fan, but even as a teen when I'd see her on TV or hear her music, it always came across as though she wanted to be perceived as something other than Black American. It's almost as if she wanted to be the preference, that exotic blend that's supposedly more desirable than the average Black girl. That mindset isn't uncommon. I remember knowing this Trini girl growing up who always made sure to tell everyone she was mixed with Chinese, even though she barely looked it. The emphasis wasn't innocent, it was an attempt to separate herself from simply being perceived as Black. And in many ways, Nicki embodied that same energy. At least Nicki genuinely looks mixed, and she knows it. She's always leaned into the preference, reinforcing the idea that she's somehow above the typical Black woman. This is why I think she has such an issue with Cardi B. Deep down, I believe Nicki is jealous. Cardi is Latina, even more ethnically mixed than Nicki, and she represents the new preferred archetype. Lighter-skinned, younger, and packaged for mainstream appeal. Cardi also achieved things Nicki couldn't, like winning a Grammy and marrying a successful rapper at the height of his career. Say what you want about Offset, but at least he's relevant in the hip-hop world. Nicki has never had that. Her past relationship with Nas was a disaster, partly because she's too masculine. A man like Nas, intellectual, grounded, and composed, would never marry someone as domineering and insecure as Nicki. Her obsession with Beyoncé follows the same pattern. She doesn't hate Beyoncé, she wants to be Beyoncé. She wants that image of stability, that picture-perfect power couple dynamic that Beyoncé has with Jay-Z. She wanted to be hip-hop royalty but could never truly achieve it. Instead, she ended up marrying a man with a criminal past, a convicted PD file, and a murderer, and then had the audacity to label them a royal couple. It's delusional and honestly tragic. And yes, Cardi B may be an industry plant, I've talked about that before, but even so, she managed to surpass Nicki in measurable success. She won a Grammy. Nicki, despite all her years in the game, hasn't. What she does have is a fragile ego, textbook narcissistic personality traits, and arrested emotional development. She's constantly on social media arguing like a high schooler, picking fights with anyone who doesn't worship her. It's embarrassing, and I genuinely don't understand how anyone can still support her behavior. Her recent bitterness toward Jay-Z isn't because he owes her money, it's because she feels excluded. She thought that by associating with him through Tidal, she'd finally gain entry into that elite circle of artists and moguls. When Tidal didn't perform as expected, Jay-Z moved on to other ventures, while Nicki internalized it as betrayal. She wanted his validation. She wanted to be part of his legacy, but he never saw her that way. It probably stings even more that the only two female rappers Jay-Z has publicly supported in a significant way are Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, both younger, more relevant, and less problematic than Nicki. The collaboration between Beyoncé and Megan on Savage Remix was the ultimate confirmation of where Nicki wasn't in the industry hierarchy. She wasn't the chosen one anymore. Nicki's entire persona is rooted in control and possession. She views the rap game as her territory, and any woman who enters it as a threat. She behaves as though she invented female rap and expects everyone to bow down to her. Her fans, the Barbs, aren't exempt either. If one of them expresses an opinion that contradicts hers, she'll go off on them publicly. That's not confidence, that's deep insecurity masked as dominance. Underneath all the bravado, Nicki Minaj is a woman who's never healed. She's built her identity around external validation, power plays, and status symbols. And now that the industry is evolving without her at the center, her bitterness is showing. It's sad to watch someone who once had so much potential become a caricature of their own ego. Nicki Minaj is exactly the kind of woman that every pretty girl and femininity channel warns you about. She's the archetype of the bitter older woman who resents younger women, no matter their race or background. If Nicki weren't a celebrity, but instead worked a regular office job, she would be that miserable manager who makes your life hell just because you're younger, prettier, and full of potential. Make no mistake, she would hate on you whether you're Black, white, Latina, or Asian. Misery doesn't discriminate, and Nicki Minaj embodies that kind of spiritual misery. Cardi allegedly called Nicki's child slow. Personally, I don't think Nicki's son appears slow at all. But you know who does? Her husband. He comes across as slow, both mentally and emotionally. When he speaks, it's rarely in full, coherent sentences. There's even a video of him recording Nicki while making strange animal-like grunting noises. People in the comments were perplexed, questioning why Nicki would marry a man like that. The answer, in my view, is simple. Spiritually, he is her equal. Spiritually, they're the same. Nicki publicly defended not only her convicted PD A-file husband, but also her brother, who was convicted of raping an 11-year-old girl. She paid for his lawyers and even wrote a letter to the judge defending him. How can anyone defend a man who rapes a child? This is beyond comprehension. But that's who Nicki Minaj truly is, when you peel back the celebrity facade. To me, this isn't just about bad choices, it's about spiritual corruption. A person's true character is revealed by the people they protect, support, and align themselves with. Nicki has repeatedly aligned herself with predators while showing zero empathy for their victims. The innocent girls whose lives have been shattered and who will now require a lifetime of therapy, healing, and trust building. These victims may never be able to fully love, trust, or marry a man because of the trauma they've endured. Yet Nicki only seems to care about shielding her brother and husband from accountability. This isn't just a moral failing, it's spiritual bankruptcy. It's evil. People like this are far more dangerous than their flashy music videos or social media personas suggest. When you defend predators and minimize the pain of victims, you reveal that your soul is not aligned with goodness, justice, or truth. And that's exactly what the public doesn't seem to grasp about Nicki Minaj. Behind the wigs, the alter egos, and the bravado is a woman who is deeply corrupted at the core. No amount of chart-topping hits or fans can cover up the fact that she is spiritually compromised. And when you look at the kind of man she chose to marry, a man who mirrors her energy, you see the truth. Like attracts like. This is why, no matter how much money or fame she has, she still comes across as bitter, envious, and miserable.
I work. I don't believe in, I hate lazy people. I hate laziness. I just don't like procrastination. I don't like people that make up excuses. Just get it done. And I've always taken that approach with my life and my career. And I guess that's why, I've been around.
Another thing I've noticed, and forgive me if I'm wrong, is that Nicki Minaj, and sometimes Caribbean and Africans more broadly, often label Black Americans as lazy. I'm not sure she was explicitly referring to Black Americans here, but in a few interviews I saw, she consistently emphasized her own work ethic, almost as if to say, "Look at me, I work harder than everyone else." It often comes across like a subtle boast about how productive these other groups are compared to Black Americans. It's a familiar narrative. Oh, look at us, we're better, more disciplined, more dedicated than you. I've actually been called lazy by Caribbean people before, so maybe I'm projecting a bit here, but I'm going to include a video by a Caribbean woman who shares my perspective on this, and surprisingly, Nicki's too.
I have a theory about why Nicki Minaj acts the way she acts, and why she's acts very male-centered, and why she's kind of don't like Black women, and she's always hating on them, but then she bootlegs, white artists and things like that. And it has something to do with her being Caribbean. I grew up in a Caribbean household, right? My mom is from Trinidad. She was born in Trinidad. My grandma was also born in Trinidad. And Caribbean people have this kind of obsession with white people. They feel like white people are better than African Americans. They feel like African Americans are lazy and they have so many opportunities and they just lay around and they don't do anything about them, this, that. So, Nicki Minaj, both her parents being from the Caribbean, I'm sure that they probably had the same ideologies. And also, when it comes to women and men, you see how she's very male-centered and she loves Drake and Lil Wayne and all the guy rappers, except Jay-Z for some reason. But all the guy rappers, but then she doesn't like the woman. And I feel like it's because when you're growing up in a Caribbean household, the women are very hard on the other women. They don't give you props, you know what I'm saying? It's always, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You come home with 100, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. But if your brother comes home with an 85, they're praising and they're throwing a party for him. So I just feel like that plays a part too. I feel like in Caribbean households, well, at least from my experience, I feel like when it comes to women bigging up women, they don't do that. They don't really support the other women. It's yeah, good job, but it's when a man does something, it's oh my God, it's such a big deal. And I'm happy that Nicki Minaj actually had a boy, because I'm scared that if she had a girl, she would have probably taught them, a lot of stupid ideologies. So it's just you got to put a lot of things into perspective, because I think that Nicki Minaj was born in Trinidad and then brought here. So I feel just growing up in a Caribbean household, especially with two Caribbean parents spitting these ideologies at you that Black Americans are lazy or whatever the case may be, and just seeing how
no one really bigs up women like that. I feel like Nicki Minaj
now, like, as an adult, is, like, showing those same things, like, to how she can never give, like, other black women credit, but she can bootleg white women, is because white women work harder than, you know, black people. Like, those are the ideologies that are taught in Caribbean households, and I just feel like she's kind of, like, carrying that.
And you want to let your publicist write something about stopping bags? Do you know what the fuck it is to sit in your fucking room for hours and days at a time writing raps? You came into my fucking culture!
But when you actually look at what she does, it's hardly work, at least to me. She writes poems, then records them over beats. That's hardly the same as clocking in at 9 a.m. every day for an office job, or working in a physically demanding labor job, or covering a graveyard shift for minimum wage. By comparison, her work, while creative, isn't remotely in the same league as what the average person is doing day in and day out to survive and provide for their families, yet she frames it as some monumental display of discipline and productivity. On top of that, Nicki has this persistent tendency to act as though she literally invented everything about female rap. She acts like she's the originator of styles, flows, and personas that existed long before her.
I remember I would never see any female rapper wearing pink hair. Pink hair became a part of that starter kit. Every female rapper will put on a pink wig at some point. And I remember that was just the Nicki Minaj thing. That's why when I said pink wig, thick ass, it was, oh, that's an iconic Nicki Minaj line because that's what she wears. Now it's everybody. Pink wig, thick ass, right?
Lil' Kim has been wearing pink wigs since the 90s, long before Nicki ever hit the scene, but Nicki presents herself as if she's the one who popularized or created this aesthetic. This insistence on taking credit for everything further feeds into her ego and reinforces the narrative that she wants everyone to see her as a singular, unparalleled force in the music industry. Hip-hop and rap are predominantly foundational Black American art forms, and while the culture has always been inclusive because our artists are naturally generous, I rarely see outsiders giving proper credit to the originators.
Because who are you? I'm starting to think because she's not Black American and Drake is not Black American and even Rihanna is not Black American, I'm starting to think that her and Drake was performing and giving us how they saw Black American people and Black culture, but not actually doing anything for us for real as a collective. And that's why Kendrick Lamar was on Drake's neck, because you're not gonna take credit for or try to replace our legends who actually did something for us as a collective with their talent. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac and Michael Jackson. Tupac, Brenda's having a baby. Michael Jackson, remember the time, they don't care about us. Michael Jackson, who, you know, gave opportunities to smaller artists, worked mainly with Black people, Black directors, Black producers, Black love interests. Everybody in his music videos is Black. Most of the people. Unless he's singing about Black or white. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could never. Rihanna, not being Black American, she created opportunities for Black American women as soon as she started her business. Her businesses. You see Black women all through the Fenty. She even spoke about, you know, things that's happening in America with Black people the best way she could. But Drake and Nicki, they just exposed to us how you see us. I don't think she cared about the Black experience or certain communities or even herself for real. Because legends before her did not have to tweet away. They stayed in them interviews, got paid for their opinions, stayed in the studio, got paid for their opinions, because they know there's more to it.
Is this combination, subtle ethnic superiority vibes, exaggerated self-importance, and inflated claims of originality, that makes her persona so grating. It's almost as if her whole public image is designed to make her look untouchable and exceptional, while dismissing the hard work and innovation of anyone who came before her, or may just not like her. People can have their opinions. And let's talk about her music. At the core, there's very little of substance. The overwhelming majority of her songs revolve around sexualized bravado. I'm the best, I'm the sexiest, I've got the biggest butt, and so on. Her lyrics, videos, and public persona all reinforce the idea that a woman's value lies in her physical appearance and sexual appeal. Everything she does, her music, her performances, her visuals, celebrates excess, ego, and hypersexuality rather than skill, artistry, or meaningful messaging. Her videos are extremely provocative, often bordering on the grotesque in their over-sexualization. While some try to frame it as empowerment, the reality is that she consistently teaches younger viewers to prioritize their sexuality above all else, presenting it as the main tool for success, attention, and validation. This isn't just self-expression, it's a formula for degeneracy, normalizing behaviors and values that are shallow, materialistic, and spiritually bankrupt. What's particularly concerning is the influence she has on impressionable audiences. Many young women, especially in Black American communities, idolize her, over-identifying with her persona and adopting her attitudes toward sex, wealth, and social status. Instead of promoting self-respect, education, or meaningful growth, her work glorifies lust, competition, and ego-driven behavior. Her music doesn't challenge the mind or elevate the soul, it keeps listeners distracted and fixated on fleeting pleasure, appearance, and fame. She trains her audience to value surface-level traits over substance, ego over integrity, and chaos over wisdom. For anyone paying attention, it's clear that her influence is far more corrosive than it is inspiring.
With the heat.
Black girl tragic. And it's black bitches that do it the most. And I don't give a fuck if y'all mad at me using that fucking hashtag.
That's offensive.
In my personal opinion, she's been looking down on Black women since the very beginning, always acting superior. That's why I never liked her. I don't care much for Cardi B either, for similar reasons. And finally, Nicki Minaj stooped to an absolutely shocking low when she called a little black girl a roach and a monkey. That isn't just inappropriate, it's hateful, dehumanizing, and completely unacceptable. We all know Nicki has always been capable of going low, but this crosses a line into moral and spiritual depravity. You can dislike Cardi B as much as you want, but leaving her child culture out of any feud should be non-negotiable. Culture is a bright, beautiful, and innocent child, and she deserves protection from this kind of public attack. To make matters worse, Nicki even called Culture a culture vulture, which is both absurd and hypocritical. Culture's father, Offset, is a foundational Black American artist deeply rooted in hip-hop culture, while Nicki herself is a Trinidad-born Caribbean immigrant. Hip-hop is part of Culture's heritage and upbringing, making it entirely hers. There's nothing vulture about it. This childish, cruel attack speaks volumes about Nicki's own insecurity and disdain, particularly toward Black women and the Black community at large. Calling a little black girl a monkey is not just a personal insult, it's a reflection of how she views Black women in general. If anyone needed more proof to stop supporting her. All of this adds up to a clear message. Nicki Minaj is spiritually bankrupt. Her actions, her music, her words, and her public persona reinforce degeneracy, ego, and moral decay. She has a platform with millions of followers, yet she chooses to spread chaos, encourage over-sexualization, and attack innocent children. This video isn't just about dissecting celebrity feuds, it's about opening your eyes to the bigger picture. All of us have the power to decide who we support and uplift. Following spiritually corrupt celebrities only distracts from your growth, your values, and the issues that truly matter. Don't let glamour, fame, or social media influence blind you to the truth. Pay attention, think critically, and choose carefully who you allow to shape your mind, your values, and your culture.